I'm going to show you how to make this lovely apron. It's fully lined. It's absolutely gorgeous. So you get all your pattern pieces and you need to tape them all together. It's all indicated where to stick them, and once you've done that, cut your pieces of fabric out and you're ready to go. So we'll start off with a pocket. So it's just a couple of pieces of fabric and I put a handmade label on. But I think it would be even nicer if I actually showed you what you were going to make, wouldn't it? I think I need to show you that. So this is the pinner. There we go. And it's got a pocket on it. Lovely straps. It's got an adjustable neck so that you can make it, because this is for somebody that's a lot taller than me. But if I adjusted the neck, it would be a perfect fit. It's universal sizing, so one size fits all. And if you're a mucky pup and you need to do a quick change, you can turn it over. And you could, if you theoretically cut another pocket out if you wanted. There isn't one on this side, but you could. There's no reason why, if you don't stitch them in a similar sort of place, why you couldn't do that. So there we go. So let's make the apron. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the handmade on so I don't forget. So these handmade labels are our own labels. They're absolutely lovely. You can find them on the website, and you also get, with these, you get some washing labels and some more handmade. So they're perfect to these. Because I do love a handmade label, me. So I pinned it in place. And just do the other side. Because you need to put, if you're going to put a label on, you need to do it before you sew it all together. Get rid of all my threads. Take my pin out now. So now, I'm going to line them up together. Losing my pinner. Need to tighten my neck. So we're going to leave a gap in the bottom because we need to be able to turn this. I'm going to start over here and do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Do a bit of a back stitch. Go around the edges, corners should I say. And just follow the edge of your foot as you go around. Just makes it so easy to keep in a, you know, keep it straight, keep it even. So across the top, one more stitch there, didn't go quite far enough. There we are. And then round we go, following the edge of your foot, and that'll keep all your stitches at a 1/4 inch. Right, do a bit of a back stitch now. So now, need to chop off this excess. So cut into your seam allowance. Cut your seam allowance in half, basically. Same across the top. Same around the curves, but leaving the middle where you've not sewn it and you're going to turn it through, don't chop anything off that because you need that to do your hemming later. That's that. A few threads somewhere, get rid of them. Then I'm just going to snip these edges without snipping into the stitches, just so that when I turn it I get a much neater corner, but poke those corners out. So get my thumb in there, turn it. Turn again. Then with my knitting needle, I'm going to just get them corners out so they're nice and neat without pushing too hard, because you don't want to distort them. You just want them pushed out, so that's nice. Do the same with this one. There we go. So now it's a matter of finger pressing. And this is going to be the right side, because this is going to be the contrast on the apron. We just need to make sure that this is all pushed out. And at home you could give this a nice press. And then I've left it open on a straight edge, so it should be easy enough to turn in. Just try and pull it taut like so, and it won't be so hard to get the hem bit straight, because we're going to, when we sew this apron, we sew this pocket onto the apron, we can shut this hole where we've turned it, we can shut it closed. So that's ready to go on the apron. Let's do the straps next. So I've done one already. These are going to be little connectors. So I want to up my stitch size, because I'm doing a bit of a top stitch here. And I'll show you in a second how I folded them, because I'm going to do the straps, which is exactly the same process. So along the edge here. There we go. Get any bits of cotton out of the way. That's not meant to be there. It's all nicely sewn together. So now we're just going to push it through, and then we just want to connect these two pieces together, just so we don't lose the D-ring. So I won't go very fast on this, because you are now starting to create a few layers here. Nothing unmanageable, but just go carefully. So that's them done. So next is the straps. I've already done one. So this is the second one. And then just on one end, we need to fold the ends under. So you're going to take your strap and you're going to fold it all in half and press, open it up, fold into the middle and fold over and press. Do that all the way along. But at the end here, just on one of them, you want to fold over about an inch or so and then fold in. What you can do is just on these ends, to get rid of a bit of bulk, don't go as far down as the crease, but you could take some of this bulk out because it's going inside the strap and you can't see it, and it just all helps. So now I'm going to fold it in, and you've just taken a bit of that bulk when you go over it on the machine, you're just taking a bit of bulk out. So now we're going to sew the strap in exactly the same way that we sewed the strap connector. Find an edge on your foot on your machine that you're happy with, that'll keep you in a straight line. And then So I know I'm totally in a straight line here, and I'm going to have a nice straight stitch on my strap. And there's many ways to make straps, but this is a nice easy way, I think. Just keep going. And you're going to go all the way around, right till you get back to where you started. There we go. I mean, you could take it off the machine at this point, but why bother? There's no point. Just go around, turn. There we go. Keep following the marking on the foot so you can go in a nice straight line. And then when we get to the end, we've just got to go carefully because we've got a lot, we've got a lot more layers. Oh, nothing happened then, I don't know what happened. Oh, it pulled the clip off. I thought I'd done something to the strap then. So, make sure this is all tucked in. Go over the edge. Just take it nice and gently over all them layers. And let's get back to where we started. You could bury threads with a needle if you wanted. And if this was vinyl, I'd be making sure that I didn't do any back stitching, but you can't really see it on there, so I am. So that's my straps done. That's my D-rings. So now we've got the strap connector, this bit here. This needs to be done so that it fits all different heights. So on this one, we folded it exactly the same, but both ends are folded in. We want no raw edges on these. Did I chop a bit off? No, I didn't. So let's do that, get rid of some bulk. So just chop a bit off here. As long as you don't go as far down as your crease line, it won't show. But your machine will thank you, I'm sure. So I keep moving things. So just pop that there and then do the same on here. And I haven't been really precise how much I folded over. There's definitely more than an inch there. So fold that in, fold that over should I say, then in. Make sure you've caught it so there's no raw edges showing. Get it with a clip and we're ready to do the adjustable strap. Then we'll put the strap connector on. So just push that in a bit more. We're going to do exactly the same as what I did with the strap. We're going all the way around and coming back to the beginning. This one's overlapping a little bit, but it doesn't matter, you won't see it. There we go. Hold that in, make sure it's all lined up. Just get rid of some threads. Make sure that's tucked in. Don't want any raw edges here. There we go. And back to where I started. A little bit of a back stitch, make sure no comes undone. So we're going to get our strap. Lost a pin then. Going to thread it through the slider and fold it over just here, away enough so that you don't catch your foot. I'll do it a little bit more actually. You don't want to catch the foot on the metal bit. Let's sew this on first. You could rivet this if you wanted as well, which would look really good if you've got rivets, but if not, sewing it is absolutely fine. But you have got a lot of layers now. And if your machine won't go through all these layers, then maybe a rivet is a good idea. Right, that's held it in place. I'm going to do another line of stitching. I should have done that at a smaller stitch length, but I didn't. But the next one I'm definitely going to do a smaller stitch length, and that will make it secure. But that one should have been the same. So we'll move it over, because this is going to get moved and it's around your neck, so you don't want your straps dropping off. That's better. And a bit of a back stitch to keep it secure. There we are. Now also, I'm going to have to connect this to one of our D-rings. So lay it on back side up, put your D-ring on, that way. So if you can see, you've got your D-ring, you've made a loop. Let's move this out of the way. Made a loop, it's connected there, and then so it stays on, we're going to go through the slider and through the other side of the slider. So now we've got our adjustable part. You can adjust it to what you want. And then got our other strap connector, and we're going to sew that onto here, just like we did with the adjustable slider. So we need this sewing on now. There, we didn't like that. Ooh! I'm going to do 2 rows of stitching, and once again, if you've got rivet press or rivets or Chicago screws or whatever you've got, if you've got something to hold it together and it looks pretty, I just like the look of them, mate. And then you could do that as well, or just sew it. There we are. So as you can see now, we've got our strap all prepared, 2 D-rings connected to either end, and then we've got the connector as well. Just got rid of a few straps. It would have been a bit more sensible for me to make this, do the strap and everything, but never mind. So we've got the straps done, strap connectors, we've done the pockets. So now we've got the front, of the apron. So don't forget this is going to be fully lined. And I've already put a line with a disappearing pen. I use them all the time, they're fabulous. Disappearing ink, where I want to place my pocket. And I've done a centre mark where it wants to go as well. So just gonna get the centre of my pocket. It's gonna go there. Because we're not sewing across the top, we're just placing it. I'm gonna put some of these pins in, just so it doesn't move about. Ow. I'm just dangerous. I'm so clumsy today. Right. That's another one. There we are. So that's in place now. So just to make sure that I've centralised it, because I don't want the pocket up all skew whiffing off to one side. I'll get a bigger ruler than that actually. I just want to measure. So I've got 7 on there. And seven there, very good. So we're fine. So now it's a matter of just stitching it on and catching those edges as we go around to close up that hole in your pocket. Comes together really, really quick, does this. So you need a proper stitch on here, not a top stitch, because you're wanting to actually stitch it onto your pinner. I love this fabric, all these wonderful peacocks, gorgeous. Right. I've just closed up, should I say, the opening that I had, so that's all now concealed and just looks like part of the stitching on the pocket. Going down to the last bit, could take this out now, this pin. Now, I'll tell you what I could have done, but I didn't do, is I could have and I should have top stitched the pocket, so I think we'll do it now. It's better if you do it before you put it on. You stitch it on rather than afterwards, but it is doable. So if you forget like me, don't worry, just put it on afterwards. And this just stops the fabric from rolling, because you've got a seam here and we've got two different fabrics going on. I want it all to stay nice. Plus I think it looks pretty. I do think it looks much nicer. Ah, we got away with that, nobody did even know. There we are. Get rid of my cotton. So now we're ready to, well, we'll get rid of this cotton on the inside actually. We're ready, more or less ready to start putting it all together. There's a bit of a knack to it to get the straps in the right place. So this is how I like to do it. You might find your own way that you prefer. So we've got the neck one. And I want to make sure that when I put that on and it goes up like that, that's on the outside. So we're going to go like so. Get our clips. Make sure it's not twisted. So everything's the back of it really that you can see. They want to be right up to the seams allowance, should I say. So you've got a seam allowance first. We're going to move it. We're going to move them in a minute. Just kind of, this is where it's going to end up once we've done the seams. So we are going to sew down there first and then put them in. But I want everything just lined up so nothing's forgotten. That will go there. And then the other will go here. And when you leave your opening to turn your apron through, make sure you leave it on a straight side rather than on a curve, because it'll be a lot easier. Right, so now we've got everything in the right place. Let's get our lining. I'm going to start with the top. I'll just clip this just so it holds it in place, but we'll be moving stuff again in a minute. That's that. So here, I'm just going to move this over, because I know it's facing the right way up now. Got no twisted. So just get it out of the way. Forget the top. We're just going to do down the arm bit. And that gives me my seam allowance for buttoning up all the straps. I've got to do the same on the other side as well. So, go back down to regular seam length, stitch length should I say. You'll find yourself making loads of these. Everybody will be wanting these when you've made these. To have a fully lined pinner, a substantial hardware on it and nice deep pockets. Lovely. So we're just going to move the strap itself further down, but we know it's in the right place. Capture that. I'm going to do the same to the other side. Just turn it over. My strap's out of the way at the top. I want to do the armhole. I'm going to move my strap down for the minute, but keep it where, you know, in the right place. Just lower down, ready to move back up. See, once you've got your patterns, you can make all these time and time again in lots of different fabrics and for different celebrations, and you just get so much use out of it, I think. So now we're ready to put the straps butted right up to that seam allowance, and I like to leave a bit of strap hanging over. It's a bit more security than it being right on the edge. That's going right up there now. And then on the other side, we're going to do exactly the same. I'm going to push that strap right up to the seam allowance. A bit hanging over. Clip it in place. Same with the neck. We know that nothing's twisted because we sorted that out right at the beginning. A bit hanging over. Same here. I think the contrast of the two is lovely, and don't forget I've got mine on at the moment on the wrong side. Mine's inside out, fully lined and beautifully stitched, so it doesn't really matter which way around you wear it. So now I'm making sure that my hardware is out of the way, which it is, so my straps here are long enough. I'm not going to go mad going over speed-wise, going over the strap connectors. There we go. I'm going to give them another little sew. That's it. Bit again. So I've done the top. I'm not going to chop any of these straps that are hanging over. Just leave them in. They'll be hidden in the seams, and I just think it gives it extra security. So now it's time to sew down, but we're going to leave a gap here. So we're going to leave a gap about so much to the end, and probably from about there, decent sized gap. When you put your straps on, remember to put your raw edges hanging out where we are now, and the nice finished edges at the ends of the straps where they'll be seen. Right, if I carry on going, I'm not going to leave a gap, am I? Too busy talking. Right, just move further down. That's it. Got a big enough gap to get in there. If you leave your gap on the curve, it's doable. I know, because I've done it, but it's definitely not as easy. And it's easier for top stitching as well. There we go. And I'm going to trim this down afterwards, but if you've got an overlocker or you want to use a zigzag stitch to avoid any fraying, that would be good, because you're actually going to wear this. Right, we're on the last stretch. See, this is another project that just doesn't take long at all. Great fun to do, and it looks fabulous. Right, we've well and truly stitched those straps in. I'm going to actually, I'm not going to trim this down. I'm just going to trim at the corners. I would prefer to either overlock or zigzag this, to be fair. Another one. Right, here we go. I'm ready for a top stitch. So you're just turning the whole of the apron through the gap we left, and then pushing out all your seams and your corners. And by chopping the corners down a bit, that helps them to lay much better. Got a bit of cotton here we don't want. Get rid of that. Pull your seams out, your straps out. That's the one that we're going to have to close up when we go around with the top stitch. That pulls out lovely because you've did the seam on the armholes first before we actually sewed the straps, so they sit in the perfect place. Same with this, pull that out, so we're ready to top stitch. When you're at home, I give it a good press before you top stitch. But we're not going to do that here. Right, so I've now got a bigger stitch, a top stitch. I'm going to go around all the edges. This is holding the two layers of fabric together because this will make it better for pressing when you've washed it, because it's obviously going to get a lot of washing. And it also, I think it just looks neater. So I'm just sorting out my seams as I go. But this fabric, to be fair, behaved really well. So I'm finding it quite easy just to roll the seams out. Just making sure, especially on the curves, everything's pushed out. You could actually split the pocket by putting a seam down the middle. This would also make a fabulous gardening apron, putting your trowel and your fork in, as well as for the kitchen doing your cooking and your baking. So there's many uses for it. And this is where I've got to pull it taut and get that seam to go in. That's nice and easy, isn't it? If you weren't happy just pulling it taut like that, get your clips in first, fold it, press it, clip it. Do whatever you need to do to get a really excellent result. Just going to take us time going over that bit because I've got a few layers going off here. There we are. Right, so just going up the armholes now, the ones that we sewed first. Careful now because I have got a lot of layers going off. Make sure this rolls up and that's it. Rolling this open. Right, we're on to the last bits now, nearly there. So just keep top stitching, and then make sure you slow down when you get to the straps and things because they are bulky. Doing the other armhole now. Just take it easy over this strap. It's not as bad as I thought, that. Right, so just keep pulling you wouldn't have had to keep pulling these seams out if you'd pressed it. So that eliminates that. Not far off now. Last bit. I'll just get me extra bits of cotton off there before we get to it. There we are. All done. More threads. And there we are. 2 pennies now. There you are. You've got your pocket with your handmade on. And this one's actually, I fasten this one better, it's higher up for me. Like you can see, it looks lovely with the contrast as well. So I hope you've enjoyed, going to enjoy, should I say, making these aprons as much as I have.